Yes.
Zimbabwe has declared a shutdown or lockdown from Monday. What are your views on this lockdown?
Yes, true that Zimbabwe has declared a lockdown from Monday, possibly I think from Sunday midnight, that is just a few minutes after midnight, then it starts, that's when Monday starts, and ending on 20 April 2020. And the issues that have been raised in terms of that, just for, in case of those who have not heard about it, they have said that the food markets will remain open, public transport will be suspended except the Zupco, informal markets will be closed except for food and other, pharmaceuticals and water, and also motorists are allowed to refuel their cars provided they remain in the cars, they don't go outside. Non-food shops will be closed except those selling water and food and so pharmaceuticals. Then millers to be allowed to deliver only to residential areas. Employers and employees to negotiate costs. Funerals to be conducted but with less than 50 people. National Command, or rather the Army, will be deployed to complement civilian efforts. And also Ministry of Health and Child Welfare to work with Ministry of Information in information provision. Then government to decentralize testing centers. And finally, those peddling false information will be prosecuted in terms of this. Right, so these are the issues that have been raised for the lockdown. But I'm worried about the practicality of these measures and whether these measures address all the needs that are supposed to be in place. I still do not understand that. Well, before I move on, I just want to say that Idi Mnangagwa seems to have, taken our plea seriously. I'm told that he is eventually releasing some prisoners, so we'll talk about that later. Now, on the practicality of these measures, I can see that he has not addressed issues to do with emergent situations in terms of suppose people fall ill within their homes. What are the measures that are going to be taken to ferry these sick people to which places, or to the testing centers as well as to the treating centers? Those are very critical issues. Yes, there is Ministry of Health, but what are the measures of reporting, of telling them that this is a problem that we're having and we need people to come and help us? And then also, in the event of some families starving, because most of the people of Zimbabwe, they are vendors, they are selling in order to get food on the table for just that day. They don't have reserves at all. Yes, shops might be open, but if people are not selling to get the income which they can use then to buy from the shops, what are they going to do? Those issues have not been addressed, and we don't know exactly what they are thinking about that, because those are very critical, very important areas where people should be able to get resources. Government should come up with relief mechanisms. I know government has no money because money has just been disappearing, but they should come up with some efforts to provide basic needs in the event of some families. And so there are two issues here. The first one, there should be a way of people, a very easy way of people communicating to government that we have got sick people, or we are running short of food, we need food. And there should be a way by which government is going to take the sick from the people, as well as providing food to those people. So those are two issues. The other issue is those soldiers who have been deployed, who are going to be deployed, they are also human beings. I'm afraid that the practicality side of this deployment might be problematic, in that they might there is need for the soldiers to also be quarantined in some way. If they put in place measures, because otherwise these soldiers are going to move around, beating up people, holding people, and so on, and in the process distributing, spreading the disease also, because they are also not immune from this pandemic unless they've got safety clothing, but they don't have. I don't think they can afford those. And then the other issue is on employees and employers, where they are going to negotiate on salary cuts. If employers and employees are going to negotiate on salary cuts, it means this is going to affect the employees. Employees are going to be affected. They are going to pay the price for this, and this is serious. So government was supposed then, yes, we don't want the employers to be affected. They must be salary cuts, but these salary cuts must be compensated for by government and pay the employees, so that the employees do not have reduced salaries. Yes, because it's not employees' problem. This is a national problem. This is a national disaster. And so for employees to be able to afford, they must be cushioned. So government comes in and tops up on that balance where the employer cannot meet. So it should be like that. And also then this issue of some shops being left open and so on, that's good. But what mechanisms have been put in place so that this system cannot be abused, cannot be taken advantage of by other people? And so there must have been a criteria by which these shops are going to be selected, and these shops are going to be monitored, so that nobody takes advantage of this situation to amass wealth at the expense of the people, and so on and so forth. Then the other issue is of false news. I'm a bit worried that this might be an attempt to also, block news to come out, because what mechanisms have been put in place to make sure that this one is called false news, this one is not false news? Government is trying to, it is not saying out everything to the people, and yet people need to know. It is the right of the people. People have got the right to access to information. But if that information is not going to come out, if that information is going to be hidden, that is a serious problem. And then maybe the final issue before you ask me something else is the issue of government decentralizing testing centers. They mentioned that they are going to decentralize. When are they going to do that? They should be saying we have already run around. 2 days is enough period to run around and make sure that we now have a testing center in Rua, we have a testing center in Chitungisa at such a place, and in Zengeza at such a place, in Highfield at such a place. They should be at least coming out right now. Government should be doing a lot of work and having testing centers throughout the whole country, throughout everywhere. Not saying they are going to do it. When are they going to do it? Time is not on our side, and they continue to do that. So these are some of the issues that I just wanted to quickly, raise. Maybe you have specific questions that I can address, that I can attend to. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to ask 1 or 2 questions. Zimbabwe has a lockdown, but the surrounding countries like Botswana, countries like Malawi, Zambia, Mozambique, they do not have lockdowns. What happens if someone comes out of those countries after the lockdown with the disease?
Yes, that's another practical issue, which is very serious. What is needed to do is, after the lockdown, on the practical side of things, the lockdown will end. If they will have to assess whether the lockdown should end or should continue. But then even if it ends, they should put in place systems on the borders to test those who are coming into the country and see if they need to be quarantined or not, so that we don't import these diseases again into the country. So that should be done that way, and that preparation has to be done now before the end of this lockdown.
Okay, I think this information is sufficient for someone who has not heard that there was a lockdown. what do you think generally in terms of this whole lockdown? I saw Nelson Chamisa came out and he was saying he's happy about it. In general, are you happy with the lockdown?
Yes, lockdown is the way to go. I'm happy with the lockdown. It should have been done long time ago, but of course now they've done it. It's highly commendable. The only problem is the practicality side of it, because I'm worried about the people, dying in the houses without food. That is one thing that I'm so worried about. People are going to starve. Government must come up with mechanism to deliver basic commodities to those who need them. And it should be nationwide. It should not only be in Harare. It should be throughout the whole country. Every Zimbabwean deserves that. And so I'm not saying delivering to everyone, but those who do not have anything on the table, this is the time to give them free of charge.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Albert Matapo. And I think let's leave it here so that this can go to as many people as possible who are watching on WhatsApp. Is there anything that you want to say before we close?
No. At this moment in time, I'm just saying they should be quick in releasing those that they are pardoning from prisons, so that they go out and then we see how many remain. Is it practical that those people can be quarantined as they are? I hope the prisons are going to be thinned enough, and this is my only worry. But otherwise, I think everything else is okay. Thank you very much, Zimbabweans, wherever you are.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Matapo. Let's come back again on Tuesday and see what would have happened.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.